Hey everybody, it's nearly Easter, so happy Easter. This is a show I'll be doing just before we have all our Easter eggs. I hope you got tons, I have. I was going to talk today around the difference between conditional love and unconditional love, and I think it's really easy to get confused between the two, and it is the difference between needing and wanting. When it's conditional love, what we're saying is, I love you as long as you're a certain way, as long as you do something that makes me feel happy, as long as you're a certain way that I get something from. And that's usually when somebody needs you. When somebody wants you, it's more unconditional love. Unconditional love is regardless of who you are, what you are, where you're at, I love you anyway. So it's not an agenda. And that agenda could be very subconscious. In need and conditional love, it can be very subconscious. It doesn't have to be something that's particularly nasty. It almost sounds a little bit like, a little bit sly, a bit sneaky. Not necessarily. People are often like it and they don't even realise it. People often want to be needed, need to be needed, because that gives them something. If you need me, I feel good about myself, because maybe I don't without you needing me. If you need me, then I have a purpose, because actually what I'm saying is I don't really know what my purpose is without you. The problem is when you hinge your worth or your love on how somebody else is with you, if that person changes, that love's gone. It's about whatever you need from somebody else, finding it within yourself. And I know that's really cliche and can be puzzling, confusing, laborious, hard to grasp. But the thing is, if we start to rely on anybody on any level, typically emotionally or even maybe materially, if that person suddenly changes their mind about you, what are you going to do then? It's about you getting okay with you regardless of how someone else is with you. And that's a high bar. I mean, granted, that takes a lot to be okay with that because we're human. But it's removing ourselves away from need and conditions. That way we know that we're wanted for who we are, not for what we can do, not for what we give, not for what we present, or whatever it is. That's usually of the mind, that's usually ego or some core wounding from childhood. When we want to be wanted, what we're doing is we're taking a really big risk there. We're saying, actually, I'm going to come as I am, my true authentic self. Even if I've got parts of me, my shadow parts might be right up at the moment. They're not great parts, but I'm still going to be true about who I am. Even with those flaws, do you still want me? And if that person does not want you as you are, even with your flaws that you may or may not be working on, that's something else, then you know that that person could have been there for a reason, a season, probably not a lifetime, because that person had a reason to want you as a conditioned part that they thought, oh, if you're like this for me, I'm happy with you. But as soon as you're not, I'm not. Those are the things that we have to grow away from and evolve from and grow into unconditional, wanting someone as they are, warts and all. And, that can be shown whether people are there for you for the good times or the bad times, or both. If they're there just for the good times and they're gone during the bad times, you know that those people probably had needs of you and their love was conditional. If they're still there for you in the bad times, they see your worth, they see you, they see past any labels or any issues that you're carrying, and they want you as you are. So, this is where people can idolize somebody. They can idolize somebody, maybe put them on a platform, and that's usually need and conditional. I want you to be this way for me. But the problem is when somebody idolizes you or puts you on a pedestal, they can swipe you off just like that. You may not have been asked, you may not even have asked to be on that pedestal. Equally, you've got no control whether you swiped off either. Is that pedestal fair? Is it a true reflection of you? Is it an unrealistic expectation of someone else for you to be something they want you to be? Maybe that's not who you are. And should you even be trying to aspire to be what somebody else wants you to be? Because that's where it goes wrong. Never do that. Do you first. Love you first. Love you enough. You don't have to be anything for anyone else. And if somebody isn't happy with how you are, because your flaws have come up or anything else, that's okay. Let them go. Because if they were there for the bad times as well as the good, they're good people to have in your life. If they're not, they're there in need of something from you, and that will never last. So it's okay to be you. Try not to be anything for anyone else. A hard one, but notice, are the people around you conditional or unconditional? Do they need you to be something, or do they want you completely as you are? Huge difference. And there's a lot of inner child wounding work to do in between to get from need to want and to be safe in wants. Let people come and go in your life. If they're meant to stay, they will. If they've truly got your back, they'll be there. If they don't, that's okay. There's a whole world out there still.